Now, let me ask you something. What would it feel like to have the systems, have the team, and the funding in place so your business grows even if you're not there? You see, most entrepreneurs never get even close to that. They're stuck hustling in the weeds, trading time for money, and praying for a big break. But today's guest, she's the opposite of stuck. She is Dr. Susie Carder. She's a self made millionaire who's built and sold 10 multi-million dollar businesses, including an 8-figure exit. She's raised millions in private money and capital. She's the secret weapon behind some of the biggest names in business. People like Lisa Nichols, John Assaraf, Paul Mitchell. She's helped entrepreneurs turn their companies into wealth building machines. Now, what I love about Dr. Susie is she doesn't just talk theory, she actually lives it. She survived a life changing car accident, discovered the power of systems and leadership, and built an empire that keeps growing. So, if you want to learn how to scale, how to raise private money, private capital, and actually build generational wealth, you're in the right place right here on this episode. Well, I want to welcome you to Raising Private Money, the only podcast for real estate investors who want to fund their deals without relying on banks or credit or using their own cash. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, and I'll show you how to get private lenders chasing and begging to fund your next deal. Because every good deal starts with the money. You're going to meet my friend, Dr. Susie Carder, right after this.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Dr. Susie, welcome to the magic here on the show, and welcome to the show, Dr. Susie.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Why do I get so excited, Jay, every time we talk? Thank you for having me. I am so excited to share this because I wish I knew then what I knew now, right? I think that's every entrepreneur's conversation of, wow, the lessons that I've learned, and what a blessing they have in meeting you, because you can do it the hard way or you can do it the strategic way. I'm not going to say easy, right? But it is strategic. Business doesn't have to be hard, but it does have to be strategic. And Jay is the man, the master at helping you look at those deals. Are they the right deal? Put those deals together and make those deals happen. So thank you, my friend, for having me, because I want to help you figure this thing out. I always say business is like this combination lock. You get one little tick off and that sucker doesn't open, right? We've all stood in front of it like, I'm in a hurry. I got to get the combination. And that's business, and raising money it's a combination. So what's your combination? What are you doing? Who are you looking for? Because what I found is banks look at your credit, but private lenders look at our character, right? They look at, do we have it? Do we not have it? Right? You will sell more deals by managing your character, managing your vision, your clarity, and your trust, right? So I think it's important to look at, it's not just about the money. It's about, is this a viable opportunity? Now, I don't know about you, Jay, but I found people are tired of their portfolio. They're tired of the stock market. They're tired of the volatility. And I want to look somebody in the eye like Jay and go, if I give you my money, right? That's something that you can't look when you're buying a stock in your portfolio. You can't look at that CEO. You can't look at the person that you're giving that $20, $50, $100,000 to, right? You want to look at them and go, can I trust this person?
Dr. Susie, you just said what I call a writer downer. I've interviewed almost 800 guests on Raising Private Money podcast. I've never, ever, ever had a guest say what you just said. And I quote, banks look at your credit, private lenders look at your character.
Yes. Amen. Right. And what I love about it is private lenders, there's flexibility, right? There's no red tape. It's faster closing. You can customize your terms. It's important for you to understand all of it. Raising money is a full-time job. I thought I would raise money and run my business, right? I'll just come over here and raise $1 million. No. It's a full-time gig, right? And I don't start with connections. I start with my credibility, one conversation at a time. How can I show that I have the credibility to ride this thing, to make this thing happen, to do the deal and get the ROI that your investors are looking for, right? You want to be really look at being humble enough to say, this was the best phrase I learned to say, Jay. This is one of my secret weapons is, look, I don't have all the answers, but what I do know is I can help us with our sales, our strategy, our operations, and anything I don't know, I got in my toolkit. I got a J, right? I've got a great CPA. I've got a great lawyer, right? We can bring those people in. That's all credibility. That's not me trying to be everything to everyone, because I think we go in thinking we have to be the expert. I'm bringing my experts with me. I'm bringing Jay with me, because if I don't know the answer, I know Jay does for sure.
Well, one thing you just said, Dr. Susie, that really struck a chord with me is that word credibility. Credibility. And one common question I get from every new capital raiser or new real estate investor looking to raise private money for their deals, they'll say, Jay, who in the world is going to loan me money, invest in my deals? And I've never done a deal before. Where's my credibility? And so I want to give two of my answers, Dr. Susie, and then I want you to speak to, if someone's looking to raise capital and they feel like they don't have credibility, well, how in the world do you go get credibility? So let me tell you share two of my answers, and then you go from there, Dr. Susie. So
Yes.
one thing, of course, I tell to my coaching clients, well, if you've never done a deal and I'm coaching you, you're one of my clients, you leverage my credibility, right? I'm your business partner. So you can leverage credibility from your business partners that you're doing business with. Another answer I give to that question is, if you've never done a deal, you can leverage the credibility that you have from the past. Like,
Yes.
have you been a credible person from the past? How is your character? What's your reputation? And if you've been successful in X or Y or Z in the past, it's the same principles that carry over success no matter what you're doing, right? Of course. But how would you answer that if someone has a concern about credibility and they don't feel like they have credibility in this particular niche that they're looking to raise capital for?
Well, the first thing I'm going to second, yes, leverage your credibility, use your credibility. That's why you bring a team. You want to put your badass list together. So that you've done stuff in your life that you've forgotten you've done. Every year, Jay, I put a badass list together of everything that I've done. I've built 10 multi-million-dollar companies. I've sold my last company, I sold for $10 million. I've been a speaker in over 1,000 platforms. I've written 10 books. I've made millions from leveraging stages, learning how to convert. And what I found is when you put your badass list together, you can pull from that to go, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. The second thing is you want to get a board of advisors. And advisors are people who, the people that are in my pocket, like Jay, my CPA, my attorneys, like people who are going to advise me on the deal. Now, I'm not paying those people. It's a board position. It's a volunteer board position. But again, I'm using the credibility of others. I might have the credibility in what I do, but if I'm raising money for real estate investment, which I've done for 20 years now, I can speak to that, but there's still things I don't know. What I'll say is raising money. This is a mic dropper one. Raising money is not about money. It's about your confidence.
Thank you.
I remember sitting in a meeting and they were just poo-pooing our business idea. They're like, we don't think you're going to be here in 5 years. And I'm like, listen, you may not be here. You may not be here, but I'll be here. Right. That confidence of, dang, because they were just trying to saw me off at the knees. This is going to go away. I'm like, this is not going away. This is the trend. So you can go away, but I will find someone to replace you. And I'm going to make sure that happens. That confidence got me $250,000. $250,000 from an unknown. He'd not seen me. I didn't know him from before. $250,000 because my confidence was through the roof. because I know, like I know what I know. And then I lean on everybody else's expertise in the room, the people that I've compiled throughout the years, whatever that weak link is going to be. So it's important that you're looking at what is that deal, right? And I remember I had to learn the language of raising money. So yes, we all want to look at what is our ROI. So you have to be a student. I remember going to this CAP fundraising course. So similar to what Jay was teaching. I didn't know Jay back then. I didn't know anything about raising money. And I felt like I had to open my eyes really big so I could really hear what they were saying. We were talking about PPMs and IPOs and, B2B and C2B. And I'm like, this just sounds like EIEIO, right? But I had to
EIEIO. I love it.
I had to learn I just had to sit at the feet of somebody like Jay so his words became my words. And then I would debrief every deal conversation. And I go, here's 3 things I like, 1 thing I can improve upon. That one strategy helped me fine tune, just like this combination lock, help me figure out the combination, the language of investing. Because sophisticated investors have a language, right? They want to look at their ROI. They want to look at if you've looked at everything. Right? Does this person know what the risk is? And does this person know what the payoff is? Right? And I will say that investors don't sleep well at night. If they don't, then you shouldn't either. Then you should figure out, what do I need to say? How do I need to say it? How do I need to give my investors an update so they feel safe? Right? And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? I remember I invested in this deal years ago, Jay, 25 grand. And every time I reached out to her, it's going great. It's going great. It's going great. It's going great. And then one day I got an email, a letter. It's not going great. We shut down the company. I'm like, I could have made such a big difference in that company as an investor. So some of your investors can be advisors. Don't say it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great, and then gone. Right? I'm like, well, that's a sham, right? They weren't vulnerable enough to say, here's what's working, here's what we're improving upon, here's what's working, here's what we're improving upon. So if your investors feel safe, at least they know you played full out, right? Because business is a full contact sport, right? We are in there and we are running hard. So it's important to really look at the deal to go, are they comfortable with the deal? And I'll say, Jay, and you know this as well as I do, all money's not good money. All money's not good money. Don't take that last $10,000 because those will be the people that will keep knocking on your door. Can I get my 10 grand back? Can I get my 10 grand back? Can I get my 10 grand back?
And
right?
Dr. Susie, let me ask you a question. How do you know that?
How do I know if it's their last 10 grand?
No, how do you know that all money's not good money? I think that's a voice of experience.
Ooh, some serious experience. And you never know till you're on the other side going, that was not a good deal. Like I've ended up spending more time with those people that didn't have
Dr. Susie, what you just said, for goodness sakes, I'm thinking of one particular private lender that I had. That word is past tense.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of one particular private lender today that I have had and still have today. Check this out. The private lender I no longer have invested $50,000 with me and worried the pea total snot out of me. And the private lender that I have some private lenders need to be fired, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of another private lender specifically has $1.2 million, $1,250,000 with me, and has for a long time. And you know what? I never hear from them.
Exactly.
I never hear from these. I never hear from them. Right.
That's a good investor, right?
You said it. What'd you say?
That's a good investor because they're sophisticated, right? As an investor, I'll speak from my own. I've invested in deals, bad deals, good deals, my own deals, right? So a sophisticated investor knows the volatility, right? That's the whole point of investing is you understand the volatility. You're looking at, does it make sense? Right. And so as an investor, I want to know that you've looked at everything. I've looked at everything. You're credible. You're reputable. Right. And it's a risk. I could win big or I could lose big. And if you're not willing to lose big, you're in the wrong game. to go, oh, now the goal is win bigger than you've lost, obviously, but you in this game long enough, you're going to lose it, but you can't quit. You got to go right back in. Look, when I lost my ass in 2008, I don't know if y'all remember, but 2008, the market crashed. I crashed, real estate crashed, everything crashed. I remember just being on the floor balling, Jay. I lost $10 million, what felt like overnight, because I was too over leveraged. What did I do the minute I got back up? Is I started investing in real estate again. I'm like, what I did know is, hell no, I won't go. I'm going to keep doing this. And it's going to be my comeback story. This is going to be a comeback story. So when you understand structuring a deal, when you understand real estate, it's business. And to go, what do I need to do? How do I mitigate? What I learned in losing that $10 million and crying, had to pull myself up off the floor, is there's a comfortability in leverage, and then there's an uncomfortability in leverage. And I was too pie in the sky, too excited, right? Like, yeah, just let it roll, like in Vegas, let it roll.
Well, you said, hey, two more quotes. You said, writer downers, you said, raising money is not about money.
Yeah.
Raising money is about confidence. I love the story you shared. I mean, you're talking there with the group. You're only talking $250,000, and they said, yeah, and you said, you might be gone, but I ain't going to be gone. I love it. So the level of confidence. So that reminds me, Dr. Susie, there's a direct correlation between your level of confidence and your perceived credibility.
Yes.
Right. No question.
Don't misplay confidence for arrogance. I wasn't arrogant.
No.
I knew this was a viable thing. I had done my research on my business plan. I invested my own money. I like whatever. And if you don't believe in it, that's okay. Let people walk away. That said, all money's not good money, right? If I have to convince or cajole, they're not the right person. Right. So I think it's important that you do your homework. If Jay tells you to do something, you do it, because they will ask you. And if you're not prepared for the answer, you just lost the deal. Whether it's 10,000, 50,000, 250,000, doesn't matter. I got to be ready, not get ready. I got to be ready.
Yes. And another thing you said, quote unquote, learn the language. You've learned the language, the phrasing. And, so my world's a little bit different from other people, from other capital raisers, in that so I got 47 private lenders, right?
Yes.
And my students and coaching clients, they experience the same thing. We start with our own connections, and then we grow our connections through Business Networking International, et cetera. And what's interesting is, of my 47 private lenders, and I'm leading up to a point, of my 47 private lenders, not one of them ever knew about private money, private lending, or self-directed IRAs and all that, until I put on my teacher hat and I exposed them to them. It to them. In fact, I've got accredited investors, and they don't even know what an accredited investor is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But here's my point in that story. Even though you need to know the language, tell me if you agree with this. Even though you need to know the language of private money and private lending, and those phrases, et cetera, and those words, how important is it when you're talking with a potential private lender that's never invested in this world, to keep it at sixth grade language level?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Right. Well, similar to you, my first investors, now I didn't think any of my friends had money, right? I'm like, they don't have money, right? But our first $1 million was friends and family. And that was, who does Jay know? Like, who do I know? Then who does Jay know? And then who does Jay's know? Right. And so when you're looking at the psychology of investors, right, they're not investing in the deal. They're first investing in you. So my friends and family, they knew me. They saw me build multiple businesses. They saw me do the things inside of my business. I was vulnerable. I was real. They saw me in my mess, and they saw me on my mountaintop. So they already knew who I was, and that I was not going away, that I was not a quitter. Then really breaking it down into simplicity, really giving them peace of mind. And very similar to Jay's, I had to explain how the business worked. I had to explain how their return would work. I had to explain the volatility, the risk, and the reward. right? I didn't give them too much at once, right? I had a simple deck to start just to get the sizzle, right? The sizzle of the opportunity, so they could see that here's the opportunity and here's how we're going to make that money, right? People with capital aren't looking for risk. They're looking for strong leadership, right? A lot of times, the people that you might get in, your friends and family, they have a nest egg. They can borrow from their retirement account. Like, we can look at where do they find the money, right? There's money everywhere. So I want to say that money is all around you. Wealth is our birthright. There's money all around you. And if you're not finding money, I want to work on your mindset, right? Because your net worth will only go as high as your self-worth. And so when I look at that, you might be the bottleneck in raising money. Right. And I've sat in that seat many times. I was working on this $1 billion deal, Jay, and I realized what's going on. I find myself like rescheduling and avoiding. Well, my mindset, right, it's that next level, next devil. My mindset was, well, I never managed $1 billion. I've done 100 millions, but never $1 billion. So I started sabotaging. So you have to have a coach that knows you, knows what your limiting beliefs are. And not that that stops me, but I had to recognize it, go back and apologize to that client, because I realized I was the bottleneck. I was sabotaging. So you want to look at capital is about really looking for leadership, and can you pull that off? Right? Then the backup data that you'll have, right? Simple spreadsheets, right? Not really. If you can't explain the spreadsheet, then you need a different spreadsheet, right? That's what I found. It was too complicated. I needed my CPA in every conversation. I'm like, I need you to dumb it down for me so that I can really explain to the people I'm talking to. We can have more sophisticated if the investor is more sophisticated, but how do we create so that I'm speaking to the layperson? Now, again, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm looking at, if I can't explain it, they're not going to get it. So I want you to start looking at, is my deal too complicated that I don't even understand it? Right. So that's where you really start looking at that language of investing.
Speaking of, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So speaking of explaining it to where a potential investor or private lender can understand it, you know what that reminds me of? I remember Ronald Reagan, my favorite president that ever lived.
He's a lot of people's favorite. I love that.
I mean, it's like, everybody's granddaddy. But
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan, when he was president, when somebody brought him a proposal on paper, if it was more than one page, he would hand it back to him and he would say, when you understand this better and you can explain it on one page, bring it back to me.
Yes. Right. It doesn't have to be. I think we put a bunch of fluffy words and terms in there. And, when I went to this investor class, again, it was the EIEIO, right? And I'm like, you need to go B2C and B2B. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, can you speak in my language? Right. And to go, okay, so let's attract by being trustworthy. Let's attract by being prepared. Let's attract by being bold. Let's attract by simplifying so that people will invest. They don't invest in confusion. They invest in your clarity. They invest.
Now, there's another writer downer. Investors invest in, say it again. I love it.
Investors don't invest in confusion. They invest in clarity.
Wow.
So again, I didn't have all the answers. I built one of the top largest technology companies in the beauty industry. Think about the beauty industry and then think about technology. And we were the top technology company. We won an award from Microsoft. We raised $1.5 million for that company. I didn't know anything about technology. I was not a technology guru, but what I was is I knew my clients had a need that I was solving. And my clarity was, here's the need, here's how we're solving it. I had data to prove that clarity. I had data, everything I was saying, I had the data to prove it, right? Either from my own experience from doing events or from my own experience in my own businesses, right? So you've got to be able to explain it in a way that the power of the package helps convert capital. I know the average pitch deck that I put out and that I gave got a response in under 48 hours because it spoke their language. It wasn't all convoluted. It wasn't all yippee-ki-yay, right? It was serious. Like, here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing. And here's how we're doing it. Simple. What, why, and how. What, why, and how. What, why, and how. So I could do a pitch at a networking meeting. I could do a pitch at a dinner. I could do a pitch when I'm walking on the beach with a friend. What, why, and how. What, why, and how. Right. So I wasn't thinking about selling or like, oh, you got to let go of the pitch. You got to let go of I'm selling someone. No, you're giving them an opportunity.
Absolutely.
We look at the opportunities that are on the table today, and we can all look back. Oh, I wish I would invest in Bitcoin. Oh, I wish I would have. You didn't know. You didn't have an expert to guide you or help you. Oh, I wish I would invest in Microsoft or Google or any other big company that has done bananas, in the stock. But the reality is finding that clarity so that you're not talking in circles.
Well, when you're talking about clarity, that reminds me, one common mistake that I see new capital raisers make is they talk too much.
Yes.
They just talk too much. And you just explained why. When you talk too much, a confused mind doesn't invest, as you say. When you talk too much, how in the world can you be clear? How can you project and provide clarity? And you made it so simple. I love your outline. What, why, and how. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. And here's how we're doing it. So speaking of clarity, give a little bit of clarity to the second point. So here's what we're doing. Got that. Here's how we're going to do it. Got that. Speak to the why. Is the why for the potential investor, or is the why for the good of mankind?
It depends on the investor, right? So just as much as you do due diligence on your client, we have to do due diligence on the investor. So are they looking to invest for legacy? Are they a legacy for themselves, legacy for their family, legacy for the world, right? Are they looking for a solid investment to build something for themselves, right? They might just need to monetize their wealth. They might need to diversify their portfolio. So it's understanding why they're doing it. We always did the legacy play, right? We were changing an industry, right? We are changing the way people do business. And then for the investor, it was, you'll be a part of something bigger than that. Again, most investors don't have the same fear tolerance that we do as entrepreneurs or risk takers. And so they're living vicariously through you to a certain respect. So you have to be respectful, and I have to be cognizant of what does my investor want. If they're looking for a high return on investment, I'm not going to overpromise. I'm going to share, this is our ROI, right? Here's our offer. Here's our timeline. Here's what we're thinking. Here's what it looks like. So even my ROI is really clear and concise. And we all know in investments, anything can happen. And so we let them know that there's a risk involved with that as well. So where's their risk tolerance? So in an investor meeting, I'm looking at body language. I'm looking at, my language. I'm looking at, are they perceiving it? Am I talking too many facts? What do I need to give them? So again, when I say investing is a full contact sport, you can't just do your deal. You've got to read the room. That's the art of doing a deal, is what are they looking for and what's in it for them? What called them to be on that meeting with you? And I will always ask you, what called you to be on the meeting with me? Right. And I say it that way. So people go, that's kind of weird. Yeah. I want to know, why did they show up? Their time's valuable. My time's valuable. In the beginning, a lot of time was because you asked me to be on a call. That was my credibility, right? I don't know, but I know you, Susie, and I love you, and I love what you've been doing. And I don't know, I want to hear what you have to say. And so that gave me that opening of they're trusting my credibility. Other people will say, hey, well, Jay introduced me, said that you're getting an ROI of 25%, not my ROI on my investments right now are 4%. So I'd like to hear about that. Then I know which lane to go down to and how I'm speaking. So it's important that your presentation converts capital, right? That's that you being really clear, that clarity, right? Making sure that I love the one page, the Ronald Reagan one page, of getting it in one page so that we can hear it. Right. And then look at, it's important that as experts or as the person bringing the deal, that we look at objections aren't no. No's not no. No to me means obviously I didn't explain it, or obviously you don't understand it, right? Because they're just looking for reassurance. And again, that's my confidence. Like, obviously you don't understand. Let me say it a different way. Because when a deal fails, right, or there's something that we didn't say. There's something we didn't do ahead of time, right? I do my due diligence ahead of time to find out as much about that person as possible so that I can speak their language versus my language. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about them. They care about, their investment. They care about making a difference in the world. What's that bigger plan?
If you're listening to this podcast or this show, you want to connect with Dr. Susie Carder. There is no doubt you want to connect with her. You're an entrepreneur. You want to scale your business. You want to raise capital for your business. You want to build generational wealth. This lady is who you want to connect with. That's why I have her here on the show. I've got one more question before we sign off. But Dr. Susie, go ahead. Please share with the audience how to connect with you and what you have done for some of your best clients.
Yeah. So you can reach me by my website, susiecarder.com. CARD as in dollar, dinero, delicious, ER. So get that. And then what I want to leave us with is I want you to look at your most powerful pitch isn't a spreadsheet. It's going to be your story. Your story is your why you see that there's a need that this needs to occur in the world. Fall in love with that passion, right? Private money flows to people who stand for something bigger than profit, right? My grandma used to always say that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. What are you standing for? So when I know that money flows to people who stand for something bigger, I'm going to speak into that than just about money. What is that, right? One-time capital is good, but repeat capital is freedom. And that's what Jay has really tapped into is with his 45 investors, repeat capital, which gives him freedom, gives his clients freedom, gives us all that ROI. So if you love this conversation, you need support, you need some guidance, you need some backup babes, either it's Jay or myself, please reach out to us. We'd love to support you, love to look at how do we play and how do we make you millions.
Dr. Susie, I want to make sure we get your quote exactly right in the show notes. You said your most powerful, what is your story?
Your most powerful pitch you have isn't a spreadsheet. It's your story.
Yes,
your why.
so true. So true. Yeah. In fact, that's why myself and my coaching clients, we never pitch deals.
Yeah.
Because if we've set it up right, with no chasing, no begging, attracting, leading with a servant's heart, being a teacher, offering an opportunity instead of applying for a mortgage, offering it, then, and your story's in there, there's no chasing, no begging. Last question, Dr. Susie, you've been amazing. So I know you have helped countless entrepreneurs raise millions of dollars. And, there's words that you've been saying. You've been saying clarity. You've been saying confidence. You've been saying self-worth. All those words are foundationally girded by one phrase, and that is mindset. With that, final question, final advice. What's the biggest mindset shift a business owner needs to make before attracting serious capital?
You can't get ready. You got to be ready. So a lot of times we think that they're going to get this opportunity, then you're going to hustle and get it ready so you can present to them. You've got to have it so down packed. Like when I look at Lisa Nichols, we took her from $80,000 a year to $10 million a year. We raised $2.5 million for that business because we put everything in place and we built it on systems, not on sinking sand. So the systems that are the foundation of building a profitable business, whether it's real estate, whether it's speaking and training, whether you're selling courses, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a nail tech, whether you're a salon owner, it doesn't matter. Business is business is business. You want to look at if the systems aren't in place and if something happens to you, will the business go away? Investors want to make sure that if something happens to Susie, the business will still be here and it will still survive. We need to set it up that way from the beginning. Build it as if you want to sell it, whatever it is. If you're doing a real estate investment firm and you're starting with small deals, but you want to be a J when you grow up, great. Then that's what we want to build it to be that right now so that you can see it. You're eating, drinking, sleeping it, just like I did for Lisa Nichols. Completely shifted the trajectory of her life because she invested in building a business, not being a celebrity or being a brand or a one-time deal.
go to www.susiecarder.com, SUSIECARD, as in dinero, ER, SusieCarder.com. Dr. Susie, thank you so much for inspiring me and for inspiring my amazing audience. God bless you.
God bless you.
There you have it. Another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. It's amazing because Dr. Susie Carder was right here on the show. And if you want to meet more people in that world that are like Dr. Susie Carder, then here's how you do it. Share this episode with only one person. Share this episode with just one person in your network that you know it will inspire and make a difference in their life. God bless you for being here on the show with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you right here on the next amazing episode of Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/money guide. That's JCONNER.com/money guide. And download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/money guide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.